A father buys a woman for $5,000. He brought home a woman who made his son call her mom. It was the 11th mom the father had brought home, so the boy got used to it. He bowed his head and called the woman mom, but the woman was disgusted because the father didn't tell her he had a son. The father lied to the woman, and the woman lied to her father. After removing her makeup, her face lost its color. The face is expressionless, the eyes are empty, even her long hair was fake. The woman didn't explain too much, she just said indifferently, "If you don't want it, sell yourself back." In the days that followed, father didn't come home every day as usual, but this woman didn't go out at all. All she did was eat and sleep. She had a surprisingly large appetite. Sometimes she'd get up in the middle of the night and eat in secret. Not only did she eat all the leftovers in the pot, she even ate all the food in the refrigerator. The neighbor, George, asked Bo about her. "How's the mom this time? I heard she's prettier than the others." But Shobu told him with a look of disgust, "She's a total loser. She can't do anything but eat and sleep." Seeing her smoking outside the house, George couldn't help himself. He was sucking up to her, said she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. But the woman treats her like she's crazy. She doesn't even say a word and leaves. The most important thing a woman does at home is put on makeup, but she doesn't do it to go out. She's just bored to kill time. When she saw Bao eating rice with seaweed, she went over to him again. She picked up one and stuffed it into her mouth, until he picked up the last one. Bo couldn't hold back any longer. "Why don't you save one for me?" Woman said, "It's just a little nori bun rice." The boy said, "I earned it from my hardworking part-time job." Bo's father never cared for him, so he learned to be independent at a young age. After school, he would work part-time. He never spends money. With food coupons, he could barely make ends meet. But one day while doing his homework, he suddenly realized that a woman had brought back a lot of food. The woman was eating a lot of food. Shobu's stomach growled with hunger, so much so that he lost his mood to do his homework. The woman saw that Shobu wanted to eat, but she couldn't let her face down, so she generously asked him to come and eat with her. Little Treasure was not polite. He hurriedly went over, but when he was in the middle of eating, he suddenly realized the name on the bag. It was the same supermarket he always went to. He seemed to realize something. Then he rushed to check his food rolls, and sure enough, these foods were all redeemed with his food vouchers. Shobu was very angry, because it was his month's food money, but the woman acted as if nothing had happened. After eating and drinking, she reads magazines leisurely. The woman didn't find his money. This is the money he saved after working hard for half a year to get back at the woman. He turned on the TV while she was sleeping, and deliberately turned up the volume to the maximum. The woman who was woken up was not to be outdone, turned on her own radio and played music. Shobu continued to turn up the volume. The woman also turned up her radio. The two of them didn't say a word. They were competing with each other. After a few rounds, the woman lost the battle. Then she turned off Shobu's TV in return. Shobu also turned off the other's radio, and said to the woman with a look of disgust, "Go back where you came from," and told her she didn't need her. The woman said, "I don't need a son like you," although they fight all the time, but it's just a minor friction in their lives. What they really feared is their father's gambling addiction. That day, his father lost again in the game room. When he came home, he started to ask Shobu for money. Shobu said, "We had no money at all. How could we have any money left?" Father didn't believe me. He searched through Shobu's desk. He found the money for Shobu's new school uniform. The money to pay for the new school uniform the next day. Shobu desperately begged his father not to do this, but in return, his father cursed him mercilessly. In his eyes, even his own son is not important, let alone a daughter-in-law he bought with money. Seeing the woman sitting sadly in the doorway, and George came to talk to her, but he had a poor look about him. The woman had no interest in him. On the other side, because he couldn't afford to buy a new school uniform, Shobu got into a fight with a classmate who teased him. He was beaten up and swollen. He was already very angry. When he got home, he saw a woman with a syringe. Shobu's emotions completely exploded. Ignoring the woman's pleas, he threw away all her medicines, and told her to get out of the house. After the woman stopped moving, Shobu realized something was wrong. Then he sent her to the hospital. It turned out that the woman wasn't addicted to bad habits. What she injected was just insulin, because of her diabetes. That's why she's always hungry, and she always looked tired. In order to make up for her mistake, Shobu took out all his pocket money to buy medicine for the woman. Because of this incident, the relationship between the two of them has been eased a lot. Shobu still urged the woman to leave the house, but this time he did it out of good intentions, because my father is unreliable. You are still young. You should find a normal family and live a good life. But the woman responded helplessly, "I'm just a drag. A normal family wouldn't want someone like me. I'm lucky to have been bought by your father." In the middle of a conversation, my unreliable father suddenly came back. He's happy to have won a little money today. He took the woman and bowed to a restaurant for a barbecue. The father suddenly asked Shobu how his new mom was, but Shobu didn't say yes or no. He just gave the woman an awkward look. The father asked if he wanted to kick the woman out. The boy didn't say anything. The father said he still liked her. He asked the woman if she could still be his mom. The woman just looked at him and didn't say anything. Day by day, Shobu is still the same as before. before. He went to work part-time after school. Father is still addicted to the game hall. He fantasizes about getting rich overnight. The woman is bedridden at home. Her health is deteriorating day by day. She has to rely on heavy makeup to hide her beauty. She smokes in front of the house to get some air. George would always come over to chat with her. The woman couldn't help but see what he was up to, so she refused. I don't know how you got along with the other woman, but I don't think I'll have much to do with you. That day after school, he couldn't write the weekend assignment left by the teacher. It turns out that he has to write a report on his experience of going to the amusement park with his parents. In the past, he used to make things up, but this time he had to put up a picture of his parents together, so she decided to go with him to the amusement park. Although we could only look around the park and try out the free rides, but both of them were smiling like never before. A brief moment of beauty sweeps away the gloom of life. At this moment, in the eyes of others, they look like mother and son. However, when it comes to taking pictures of their parents, the two of them were still very nervous. A woman has never been a mom before, and Bao Bao has never been so close to his mom. At the photographer's urging, the camera was able to capture the best moments. That night, Bao was very happy with his experience report. This will be his bragging rights with his classmates. However, something bad happened first. His father found out that Shobu had hidden his mother's photo. He immediately became angry. He slapped Shobu in the face and burned the photos in a fire. It turned out that Shobu's mother wasn't dead. She just couldn't stand the hell life. She chose to run away. This became the father's heart disease. And then, my father pointed the finger at the woman. That trashy woman is your mother. The man told the child to call the woman mom. The boy looks at his father and doesn't say a word. Maybe it's because he hasn't accepted the woman completely. Maybe it's because he's angry with his father. Shobu just wouldn't talk. His silent resistance made his father even angrier. He treated her like an enemy. The more he beat him, the worse he became. Just when he was about to beat him again, a woman suddenly rushed out, yelling at her father to stop, and kept throwing things at him. But it was pointless to stop him. Just one more person to beat. George, hearing the commotion, came out to join in the fun. Although he was furious at what he saw in the house, he was too cowardly. He was too cowardly to go and stop him. After the incident, the woman wiped the wounds on Bao's face. She was worried. It turns out she has pancreatic cancer. She doesn't have much time left. She's afraid that she'll burden Shobu when she leaves. She's afraid that she and Shobu will become more and more attached. It would be hard to part with him in the future. So she made a plate full of nori rice for Shobu. Then he took his luggage and left silently. When George's mother saw him, said habitually, "I knew no woman could stay in their house." Even her own mother ran away, not to mention a paid stepmother. But George rushed to the supermarket to get a box of cigarettes. He couldn't afford to smoke at New Year's. Then he chased after a woman. He wanted to give them to her. The woman stopped in her tracks, but she didn't take the cigarettes from George's hand. And that's when he realized that this creepy old man was actually a good man with a good heart. When Bao came home from school, the first thing he saw was the fragrant purple cabbage rice. Before he could put it in his mouth, he realized something was wrong. The woman's bedding was neatly folded in the corner, and her favorite radio was gone. Then he took the woman's rice with seaweed. He kicked in the door of George's room. When he heard that the woman had made the rice, George was so happy he picked it up and ate it. He just took a bite. Little Treasure came back. Without saying a word, he picked up the plate and left. 10 moms have left before, but unlike before, he felt lost for the first time. Soon the class will hold a talent show. Shobu could only lie to the teacher. "My mom is a busy person," but the teacher threw the previous amusement park report. She found the woman's contact information and hoped that she could spare some time to care for the child. The woman was very sick at the time. She was planning to die in a nursing home, but when she saw the picture of her baby, her heart was softened. Even if she couldn't grow up with her baby, she wants to give him the most love in the time she has left. On the day of the talent show, a woman dressed up carefully. She couldn't appear in the crowd of parents. When she saw Xiao Bao, he greeted her warmly, but the joy on Shobu's face was just a flash. Then he lowered his head again, because he was still angry. So after school, he didn't wait for the woman. He went ahead on his own. When the woman caught up with him, he cried and questioned, "Why did you come back? Why did you come back?" The woman couldn't tell the truth. She could only say she was sorry. She left with her head bowed in guilt. A child's heart is always soft. The mother's love that they've so easily gained. How can they let go so easily? Boy said, "Don't go away, Mom." At that moment, they really accepted each other. They saw each other as the most important person in their lives.